Time he qualified in the heats this morning. Jasper Light just, and only just, nudged out to second place by 0.04 of a second. Now, plenty to come, as we mentioned this evening. The women's 100-metre backstroke is next up. There is the start list. Now, an interesting one here. A couple of swimmers from Canada are joining us here in this race. Taylor Ruck and Kayla Sanchez from Ontario in Canada are joining us for this event, and indeed for the week. Quite a few swimmers from Canada and all the way around the world. Got an American, some Ukrainians, Qataris. There's quite a few. There's some Belgians in the heat this morning. This is an open event, invitational, so quite a few swimmers are using this to prepare for their races later on in 2018. Taylor Ruck and Kayla Sanchez, no different, and they're providing some very good international competition for the likes of Jess Fullerlove and Chloe Golding. Should be an interesting race, this one. The time we're looking out for, 61.25. Jess Fullerlove was not far away from that this morning. She is definitely targeting Melbourne. And here come the swimmers. That's the first of the Canadians, Taylor Ruck. Swam very nicely last night, in fact. And her teammate from HPC Ontario is Kayla Sanchez. Canada, of course, one of the Commonwealth nations. They'll be swimming in the Gold Coast next year, so a chance maybe for the likes of Jess Fullerlove, if she gets that time and if she gets that plane ticket, to test herself against some of the swimmers that she'll come up against in the Gold Coast. Chloe Golding was next quickest from the City of Manchester Aquatics. She goes in lane number 6. Lauren Quigley is no slouch either from the City of Liverpool. Expect her to go very, very quickly. Anna Main is excellent over any short distance. You back her to produce a quick swim. Molly Allen has been up and coming at the City of Peterborough for several years now. She's now made the move to university and to Loughborough. She is a very, very talented young swimmer. Still not quite made that step up yet, but it's a gradual process for any swimmer. She could, in fact, make the step up tonight. Stranger things have happened. It wouldn't be too weird to see Molly Allen on the podium in this one. She is very quick over a short distance in the backstroke in particular. Lily Bosley swims in her home pool in the City of Sheffield in lane 9. So those are the confirmed starters in this one. Women's 100-metre backstroke, the time they're looking for, 61.25. Can they book their place to the Commonwealth Games? It's the women's 100-metre backstroke A final.
Well, of course, this week in Sheffield, not just about the English swimmers, we also have our friends from abroad as well taking to the pool this week, and the Canadian duo in 4 and 5, Taylor Ruck and Kayla Sanchez, definitely showed us last night in the pool what they're capable of. And Taylor Ruck in particular, kick-starting a fantastic start last night. Her and Ellie Faulkner in the 200 free, pushing each other all the way in the end. Of course, Ellie Faulkner in the end managing to get a PB in that one. But looking to the pool now, it is definitely all about Taylor Ruck, leading the way by just over half a second on that turn. It's a lead that only seems to be getting bigger as well, stretching away from her teammate Kayla Sanchez, situated in lane 5. The rest of the pool, no one really dropping off. They could all bundle their way into the top 3 positions here. It's going to be a very interesting climax, but surely Taylor Ruck has got this all but sealed now. The last push for her, it will be about the time, just over 60 seconds, only by 900ths though. Taylor Ruck on top then, with Jessica Fullerlove of Bath managing to wedge herself into second spot, just ahead of Kayla Sanchez. So a Canadian sandwich there on the podium, with Taylor Ruck spearheading things on 60.09 seconds.
Well, some fine swims there, in particular from our 2 Canadians, Taylor Ruck and Kayla Sanchez. But what about that from Jess Fullerlove? 60.65 inside the consideration time for the Commonwealth Games, and Chloe Golding in 61.22 has also scraped it. 61.25 was the qualification standard. Chloe Golding and Jess Fullerlove are inside that standard. Now, that doesn't necessarily guarantee them a seat on the plane, but it does put them at the mercy of the selectors, so an anxious wait for those swimmers, but they have done all they can. They've achieved those times, and for now, that relief is off their shoulders, and they can breathe a huge sigh of relief. Wonderful swims from Jess Fullerlove and Chloe Golding. Terrific swim as well, you have to say, for Taylor Ruck, just over 60 seconds, 60.09. That's a fine swim from the HBC Ontario swimmer. Not bad going at all. Another brilliant race in the women's 100-metre backstroke. If you thought that was good, we'll have another one as well. B final is on the way very, very shortly. Some good swimmers swimming in that one as well. Just confirmation of those times. Taylor Ruck, 60.09. She's looking in fine fettle ahead of 2018. The Canadian from Ontario, Jess Fullerlove, 60.65. And Chloe Golding, 61.22. Inside those qualification standard times set by Swim England. That's a big, big moment for those two swimmers. We can move ahead to our next race. This is the B final in the backstroke. Jessica Shaw was the quickest in qualification in the heats earlier on from Birmingham University. Tegan Drew and Charlotte Evans were also impressive from Plymouth Leander and Loughborough University, respectively. Athena Clayson, Charlotte Fletcher Stables, Chloe Hannam, all very quick young swimmers. They will give plenty of competition to those speedy ones in the middle. Here they come. There is Jessica Shaw, Birmingham University swimmer. She qualified this morning in 63.44. Charlotte Evans didn't bother with any jackets or t-shirts. She came ready to rumble for this one. Tegan Drew from Plymouth Leander in lane 3 is quick and worth keeping an eye on. Athena Clayson from Mount Kelly was incredibly impressive in the relay yesterday for Mount Kelly as they secured a silver medal in the women's 4x1 freestyle. How she doing in the backstroke is the question in this event. This is Charlotte Fletcher Stables from Northampton. Youngest swimmer in this race, Charlotte Fletcher Stables. Alongside Pia Murray, born in the same year from Ellesmere College Titans. Big moment for the youngster, Pia Murray. And Daisy Platts joins the party as well on the outside lane, lane number 9. Can she spring a surprise in this B final? Confirmation of the start. Shaw in 4, Evans in 5, Drew in 3. They were the 3 quickest this morning. Will that remain the same? It's the women's 100-metre backstroke B final.
Cracking start to tonight's action then. Day 2 this of the Swim England National Winter Championships. A very good welcome to the Steel City. Some cracking swims coming up and some in prospect in the near future as well, particularly in this one. And a very even start has been made in the central 4 lanes here. Tegan Drew in 3, Jessica Shaw in 4, Charlotte Evans in 5 and Athena Clayson in 6 as they make the turn there. Currently leading the way is indeed Charlotte Evans of Loughborough University in lane 5. She's the eldest of the group of 4 in the centre of the pool that I mentioned, but off the turn she seems to have made the strongest one as well. You can see the blue cap in lane 2 with Chloe Hannam, City of Peterborough. She's beginning to worm her way into the mix right now as well. It is those two either side of the central lanes that are beginning to pull away right now. Charlotte Evans and Chloe Hannam coming in towards the dying embers. A late charge as well from Alicia Wilson, but it is Charlotte Evans down the middle that does hold on to take it. 62.68 the winning time for her. Chloe Hannam touching in next, 62.82, and Alicia Wilson just outside the 63-second bracket, touching in 3rd spot in that B final.
Swim there from Charlotte Evans of Loughborough University, who takes the win in the B final, 62.68. Fine swim to the Loughborough University Summit. Delighted to say, been joined in the studio by the one and only Ellie Faulkner. Ellie, lovely to have you with us. Not swimming tonight, that makes a change for you at these events, I know. First of all, talk us through last night, big moment, 200-metre freestyle, that is your race, and you pretty much owned it.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock to the system. Obviously, this isn't my major meet. Obviously, the Commonwealth Games is. Having already qualified, it's a matter of getting stuck into the race, even though I'm in pretty hard training still and only partially rested. So it's a matter of getting in, swimming fast, and I kind of did that, but it was a bit of a shock to the system.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me a little bit about the speed. Were you expecting that sort of speed? Because you set a pretty quick time in that one.
Not at all. Literally, I finished, looked at the scoreboard, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. It's obviously a PB, and I looked into doing that in the summer, and I didn't achieve it, but I was kind of looking forward to doing that at the Commonwealths. So it was a matter of getting in and swimming, and just a massive shock. I thought I was going about 1:58, but turns out it was a lot faster than that. So.
Well, you're going to take that, aren't you? Now, talk to me a little bit about this pool. You love swimming at Ponds Forge, I know. City of Sheffield, always heavily represented at these events. And you had a lovely moment with one Rosie Rudin yesterday. I know you guys have laughed about this today, but she achieved this qualification time in the 400 IM, and you were right there by the poolside to greet her. There was quite a few tears, mostly from Rosie. We have to give you credit there. But talk us through that moment.
We were just both so happy. She's a good friend, and I just wanted her to do the best she possibly could, having achieved that time. And she's had a bit of struggle the past few months, so I just wanted to get behind her and make sure that she was so proud of herself. And to be fair, we were both in tears, and it was just so nice to be able to be there and to be able to share that moment with her.
Absolutely. And looking ahead to this next race, the men's 200-metre freestyle, a race you know a thing or two about, let's be honest. This is the men's event, and we've got a bit of a Sheffield interest in this one. We've got Jay Elliott and another one of your swimmers, Nick Granger, swimming in it. Now, what can you tell us about them that we might not know already? But don't do them dirty, obviously.
I mean, they're both hard trainers. It's a matter of them too. They're going to have to try and push for this. They're both going to have to try and make that time to obviously get on that team. It's a tough qualification time, but I think they've got it in them. I mean, both of their PBs are pretty much on that time, so it's a matter of them getting in there and racing it and really trying to achieve that time to make sure they get their seat on the plane.
Now, we saw Jay Elliott go in the 400 yesterday. That was one of the heartbreaking moments of the night, 600ths of a second. I know as a swimmer you've been there before where you've missed out by literally fractions. What's Jay's mentality been like this morning? Has he been straight back at it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he came, I literally saw him about half an hour ago before he got ready for this race, and obviously it was a bit of a kick in the teeth yesterday not making that time, but I guess it's spurring him on to kind of make that time today, and it's more important to do so, and I guess there's more of a drive to really get that seat on that plane.
Yeah, we did see Mr. Wilby do exactly that. He missed out yesterday by hundredths, got it today. That must talk to me a little bit about the pressure. Obviously, for this event, you don't experience that. You've already booked your ticket. You can take this event as a little bit of a freebie at the end of the year. But talk to me, I know you've had that before, the pressure to swim a time in an event. What is, for someone who's never done that, what's that like?
You can't really describe the pressure. It's just, it's a lot, and it's a lot to take in, but it's a matter of thinking about what you've done in training and really putting that to use within the race, and really thinking about those little things. Like when you get older, it gets harder and harder and harder. So
and we'll see what these guys can produce. Carl Chisholm was quickest in qualifying this morning. It's the men's 200 metres freestyle, a final. And away we go then. Men's 200-metre freestyle, a final. Quickest in qualification, Carl Chisholm. He's got two City of Sheffield swimmers outside of him in Jay Elliott and Nick Granger in lanes 3 and 5. City of Sheffield swimmer alongside me in Ellie Faulkner, who got gold in the women's 200 free yesterday. Pretty good start by these guys here. As they reach the wall at the 50, it is Elliot Clogg who leads the way. Slightly unexpected in lane 0, really quick start from Elliot Clogg, 25.7 is his split. Not too far away is Jay Elliott and Nick Granger. Pretty quick start. This point in the race, starting to get into the groove, important to be near the front.
yeah, indeed. I mean, it's a tough race, and obviously you've got to be able to pace it, and sometimes it does come down to that last 50 and really putting your head down like it was for me last night.
Now, we saw Nick Granger swim the 400 yesterday alongside Jay Elliott. He swam the 400, he swam the first 200 of that race like a rocket. Do you reckon he was sort of prepping himself for this event in the 400 final?
Yeah, for sure. I know that he really wants to see it on that plane, and it's a matter of he wanted the 200 free, and he's getting in there tonight and doing what he can.
Now, they are looking for a time of 1:47.53. That's the consideration time for the Commonwealth Games next year in 2018. Nick Granger touching him first, Lelliot just behind him, Chisholm not too far back either, and also keep an eye on Mr. Kurle. He's also going very, very quickly as Cameron Kurle in lane 6. Going to be a very close finish, this one. You can see there pretty much neck and neck, and a strong finish happening here in lane 6 from Cameron Kurle. Remember, 1:47.53 is the time thereafter. Can they get it? In they come towards the touch. They're going to be just outside. Cameron Kurle takes the win, 1:48.86. Nick Granger in second, Jay Lelliot in third. And there's your winner, Cameron Kurle from the Bath National Centre. Fine swim in 1:48.86. A little bit of a wink to the camera, he enjoyed that one. Not bad going at all from Cameron Kurle, fine swim. Those are the confirmed results then. 1:48.86 for Cameron Kurle. Nick Granger and Jay Elliott just missing out.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Obviously dependent on whether a 4x2 team goes, but I guess that's down to the big dogs as they call them. But it's a matter of, hopefully, I think he'll be able to get a medal at the Commonwealth, so fingers crossed.
Now those standard times are incredibly quick. The idea is to set medal standard times, so they know they're going to take medal chances to the Commonwealth Games. Congratulations on being one of them, obviously. But does that add an extra level of preparation to these, knowing that you're not just going to trials to set trial sort of times, you're going to set Commonwealth Games standard times?
Yeah, I mean, most of the Commonwealth Games standard times, I think, are the podium times, so it's a matter of those times are literally what is going to win you the medal, and it's going to be fighting for those times that's going to get you on that podium.
Now talk to me a little bit about the Commonwealth Games. First of all, are you excited to go?
Yes, can't wait.
I thought you might say that. What excites you about travelling internationally and swimming at these competitions?
It is weird because obviously I've competed in different countries, but I've never been over to Australia, so I guess that's just a big highlight in itself, and being able to compete outdoors as well, which is a lot different. The last time I competed outdoors in a major competition was European Juniors in 2009, so it's a big shock to the system. But
I'm a long way since then.
Yeah, it's a big shock to the system, but I'm really ready to get stuck in there and can't wait. We
can't wait to watch your race as well. We're going to cast our eyes now onto the B final in the 200-metre freestyle. Cameron Kurle with a terrific result in the A final. Not quite the time, but he would have been very pleased with that win. And here we take a look at the B final. Eddie, thank you ever so much for joining us. We'll hopefully catch up with you later on in the week. So here we take a look at the B final, and those athletes are starting to make their way out onto the pool side. Daniel Wallace was quickest in qualification for Edinburgh University and looked very, very good in doing so as well. 1:52.25 was his time, which is pretty decent, it must be said. Lewis Clough from the city of Salford is always there and thereabouts at these meets. And this is a classic example of a little bit of young versus old in this race. Daniel Wallace, Edinburgh University, 24 at the start of this year. Matthew Richards there in lane 2, 15 at the start of this year. Just gives you a kind of idea of the mix that we can see at these championships. It's one of the parts of the championships which is so appreciated by absolutely everyone who comes. The mix between the youngsters and the international elite. We have seen some really impressive youngster swims. Particular shout out to Mr. Cameron Williams in the 100 breaststroke earlier on. He swam a 13-year-old British record, 67.55. He's actually coached by his uncle, swims for Dartmoor Darts, a new team down in the south of England. 13-year-old British record was swam earlier on today by Cameron Williams. Just an example of what the youngsters can produce here in the pool at these nationals. Here we go, the next race. It's the 200-metre freestyle for the men, B final.
And away we go, a strong start being made in 3 from Jarvis Parkinson of Loughborough University. And of course, the A final showing us that this is very much, not necessarily a marathon, but it is definitely not a sprint either. Very much a case of pacing yourself very sensibly indeed and springing on the attack in the final quarter. But on the outside, trying to throw a bit of a spanner in the works right now for the infield is Federico Bediso of Mount Kelly, soaring out from the blocks. And he, at the moment, is the one leading the charge and looking very strong indeed. Of course, the question always is, can he maintain this for the duration of this race? Well, he's coming up to the halfway point, and if he can muster another 100 metres, quite like the first, and that will be very good stuff indeed. The peloton right now being led by Jarvis Parkinson of Loughborough University, who you suspect would be beginning to chance his arm now. He's popping his head out of the water for air and looking towards Federico Bediso in lane 1, and he's definitely sizing up that sort of opportunity. The rest of the pool taking up a diagonal line formation that is being led by Jarvis Parkinson, and Federico Bediso in 1 beginning to slightly slow down now. You can see the kicks are beginning to wane. And as that occurs, Jarvis Parkinson's kicking and arm strokes are just getting quicker and stronger. Same has to be said for Daniel Wallace as well in lane 4 for Edinburgh University. The most experienced swimmer in this B final is going to have to use all of that in the last 25 to be able to catch up. Jarvis Parkinson here, who is looking very strong, and he's not letting this one up at all. The lead did not evaporate as soon as he got it. He kept it, and he comes into the wall with the fastest time as well of 1:49.66. Daniel Wallace next home on 1:51.17, with Lewis Clough the one managing to get himself into the top 3, propelling himself into that position in the final 100. And it's that man who takes first spot in that B final. Loughborough University's Jarvis Parkinson.
Oh, what a good swim that was from Jarvis Parkinson. 1:49.66 in the B final is very, very nicely done indeed. Not too far off the winning time in the A final. Really, really good that from Jarvis Parkinson. Let's take a look at those confirmed results. It is Jarvis at the top of the leaderboard, 1:49.66. Daniel Wallace, 1:51.17. We'll be pretty pleased with that. Lewis Clough, 1:52.20, taking third in that one. Women's 50-metre freestyle is the next event on the schedule. And while we're here in Sheffield, we should be aware of the other swimming competition happening around the world. This is the result, British interests from yesterday at the LEN European Short Course Championships in Copenhagen in Denmark. Adam Peaty, nominated for the BBC Sports Personality this year, of course, took a bronze medal. Not often Adam Peaty gets beaten in international competition. He took a bronze. It was a personal best though in 25.7. He set the championship record in the semi-finals, only for his 2 rivals to go and better that in the final. He was happy with the personal best. He has to be, but he was beaten into bronze. Emily Large went well in the final of the women's 400 metres IM. Ross Murdoch and Jocelyn Ulliet competing in the men's 50 and the women's 50 breaststroke, respectively. Jocelyn Ulliet in one of her very first international competitions. One of the breakthrough stars of 2017 so far. Jocelyn Ulliet emerged with a British record at the championships over the summer. She was absolutely superb in that, didn't expect it, and that's the sort of thing that can happen at these championships. Out of nowhere, a swimmer will produce something they didn't expect, their coaches didn't expect, and no one expected. That's what happened with Jocelyn early on this year, and here she is swimming at the European Short Course Championships. She's already booked her place onto the Commonwealth Games team for those championships next year in 2018 on the Gold Coast. Not too far away from our first medal ceremony here at the Winter Championships this evening. Plenty still on the way, of course. Race-wise, we'll have the women's 50-metre freestyle up next after this. Men's 400 IM and women's 800 metres freestyle still to come this evening. So the medals for our first event, the men's 100 metres breaststroke. If there's any confusion here, these are senior and junior medals. And on top of the podium in the seniors, who will receive the trophy as well, James Wilby. And he will be delighted with his swim. Lawrence Palmer was excellent. Very, very quick over a sprint distance. William Ellington there getting the junior medal, and a big cheer from his teammates and coaches in the stands here as well from Millfield. Always very well represented at these championships.
In the senior category, representing Bath, Andrew Willis.
Andrew Willis has done good work so far in this meet. Second in the 200 yesterday, second in the 100 today. He is already on the plane to Australia next year. He doesn't really have to worry too much about that. And that's our young man, Cameron Williams, who was just speaking about him before. 13-year-old British record he set earlier on in 67.55 for Dartmoor Darts. Very fresh young team in the south of England. Coached by his uncle. Had the pleasure of chatting to Cameron's mum and Cameron's uncle, his coach, earlier on, and they were absolutely delighted with their youngster swim. And just to clarify, I did ask the question, the uncle was definitely harder on Cameron than most swim coaches would be. I think Cameron's used to it by now. James Wilby then, big smile on his face. Such a contrast to yesterday when everything seemed a wee bit more forced. 200 breaststroke, he was the gold, but not the time he wanted. 100 is all smiles. What a swim it was. 300ths of a second inside that consideration time. He has done all he can do. Reminder of what we've still got to come. It is those bottom four events. Women's 50 freestyle will be over before you know it. Men's 400 IM has got some living up to do because the women's event yesterday was the star of the show. 3 swimmers swimming consideration times for the Commonwealth Games. In that one, Amy Wilmot, Rosie Rudin and Abby Wood. Women's 800-metre freestyle fastest heat. It sort of doubles as a final. Is what rounds off the individual races this evening. And we end on a relay. 4x100-metre freestyle team events. And here's what's coming up in the calendar next year. For Swim England national meets. We've got the National Summer Championships, always such a carnival event. 31st of July to the 4th of August. Wonderful event, that one. Swim England County Team Champs, 7th of August, 7th of October, I should say. That's a Sunday. And it's worth pointing out, they are 2 of the most fun events on the swimming calendar, no matter where you are really. The County Team Championships in particular is wonderful. As swimmers represent their regions, they come in face paint, there are more air horns than you could possibly wish to count, and it's one day of frenetic short course action. Always a fun event, that one, and you can catch those 2. They'll be live streamed on the Swim England website next year. Swim England National Winter Championships will be around next year. Don't worry about that. We're having far too much fun in 2017 to not do it all over again next year. Another medal ceremony on the way for you then here. This is the medal ceremony for the women's 100-metre backstroke. Really good race, this one, and again, another race where consideration times were hit by 2 swimmers.
The winners of the bronze medals. In the senior category, representing City of Liverpool, Lauren Quigley is able to accept her medal right now. And in the junior category, representing Wickham District, Kira Barber. The winners of the silver medals. In the senior category, representing City of Manchester Aquatics, Chloe Golding.
There's Chloe Golding, who will be absolutely delighted with her swim. Big smile on the face of Chloe Golding, and no surprise inside that consideration time for the Commonwealth Games. Her fate's now up to the selectors, but she has done all she can. And as we spoke to Ellie a little bit earlier on, she told us all about the relief that she will have felt. And a similar relief will be felt by Jess Fullerlove as well.
Representing Bath, Jessica Fullerlove.
She's receiving her gold medal, and again, no surprise to see a big smile on the face of Jess Fullerlove inside the consideration time.
Charlotte Fletcher Stables. And the winner of the commemorative gold.
And on top of the podium, standing tall, that's quite literally, is Taylor Ruck from Ontario in Canada. She receives a commemorative gold medal. Obviously, a Canadian can't receive the title of National Champion of England, but they do get a commemorative gold medal for their quite considerable efforts. It was a phenomenal swim from Taylor Ruck. It really was, edging out Jess Fullerlove, and who knows, maybe in a few months' time, we'll see those two battle it out on the Gold Coast for a Commonwealth gold medal. Next up is the women's 50-metre freestyle. We start, as ever, with the A final. Keep an eye on Anna Hopkin from Bath University. She is a brilliant swimmer over 50 metres. Really, really quick indeed. The time she's looking for is 24:49. It's a very, very quick time. She will have some difficulty hitting it. 25:39 was what she went this morning. Did she save something in the tank for something special this evening? We'll have to wait and see. Kayla Sanchez, who is swimming for Ontario. Excellent in the 100-metre backstroke earlier on. She's in lane 5. Emily Barclay from Loughborough Uni goes in 3. Rebecca Smith is in lane 2, also from HPC Ontario. Keep an eye on Freya Rayner as well. City Sunderland in lane 6, very, very quick over the 50-metre distance. As our swimmers are introduced to the crown hit. We're walking on one by one.
In lane 7 from Planet Swim, Katie Latham. In lane 6 from City of Sunderland, Freya Rayner.
Freya Rayner just right of your shot there in the red cap of the City of Sunderland. Will be hoping to make her mark in this one. She's more than capable, very, very quick, as I mentioned, over 50 metres. Kayla Sanchez, one of the Canadian swimmers, has been in excellent form. Anna Hopkin, that is who we're looking out for in lane 4. Quickest in qualifying. She'll be hoping to be quickest to the wall and hoping as well to be quickest to 24:49. It's a tough time to get. Rebecca Smith from Ontario is in lane 2. Rebecca Guy been on the scene for a little while in lane 1. And Emily Crane at Loughborough is in lane 2. Should be a good race. This splash and dash. Blink and you'll miss it. It's the women's 50 metres freestyle. Confirmation of that start list. Crane, Guy, Smith, Barclay, Hopkins, Sanchez, Rayner, Latham, Jackson, Phillip. This is the women's 50 metres freestyle A final.
Take your marks.
Kayla Sanchez is lane 5 of HPC Ontario, straight back into the pool after being awarded her commemorative silver in the women's 100-metre backstroke. No rest for the wicked, no rest for the Canadian as they battle on all 10 swimmers here towards the wall. It's very even as you'd expect, but it seems to be in lane 4, Anna Hopkin of Bath University that just has the slight edge alongside Kayla Sanchez, and it is the latter that gets there, 0.04 of a second quicker. Very close indeed. Another medal in the bag then for the HPC Ontario swimmer. She makes a silver in the 100 back and a gold in the 50 free now as well. Just pipping Anna Hopkin, who goes into second position, and third confirmed as Emily Barclay.
Well, what a great swim that was from Kayla Sanchez. Anna Hopkin with a fine swim. Always knew that time was going to be very, very difficult to hit for the Commonwealth qualification standard, but a good swim nevertheless. 25:33 is quick by anybody's mark. Kayla Sanchez 25:29, just getting her on the touch. That's a fantastic swim from Kayla Sanchez. Silver in the 100 backstroke and gold in the 50 metres freestyle. Swimmer to really watch out for next year for Canada. Smiley face on her black swimming cap. And I'm sure she'll be smiling after that one. This is the start list for the B final. And this really is a sort of who's who for up-and-coming swimmers. Amy Grant in lane 9, only been at Loughborough University in her first year. Amy Godse from Hatfield is in lane number 8. Jasmine McRae is even younger, 16 at the start of this year. She swims out of Poole Swimming Club. Anna Main from Woking has been a fixture on the national scene for a little while now. And she's very quick, over 50 metres indeed, like her fellow Anna Hopkin. Lauren Quigley was quickest in qualification this morning from the city of Liverpool, 26:34. She's only just collected the bronze medal in the 100-metre backstroke. Megan Maybanks goes in lane 3 from Dummer Atlantis. Hannah Rogers from Teddington, one of the more experienced swimmers in this race, alongside Lauren Quigley. Molly Allen, we've seen her already before in the backstroke final in lane 1 from Loughborough University. Juliet Cassini getting a big reception from her teammates and coaches here in the venue at Ponds Forge. What can she produce from lane 0? Here we go then, it's time for our next final. This is the B final of the women's 50 metres freestyle.
We dip into the 400-metre individual medley in the men, and then the women's 800-metre freestyle to cap off the individual swims tonight. Will this end on a cracker? We're about to find out. Lanes 4 and 5, the main duel. Lauren Quigley in 4, Alicia Wilson in lane 5, also trying to throw themselves in the argument. It's Hannah Rogers in 2, succeeding as well. She'll finish third because Lauren Quigley tops the tree, 26:07, the winning time, 600ths of a second clear that of Alicia Wilson of Guildford City. Hannah Rogers, a very good swim in lane 2 for Teddington, gets her third spot in that B final. But taking it from Liverpool is Lauren Quigley.
Yeah, really nice swim that from Lauren Quigley, 26:07. Very nicely done, enough to win the B final. Alicia Wilson was not too far away, 26:13, just getting out-touched by 600ths of a second there. Our next event is the 400 individual medley for the men. And this is the start list. Keep an eye on Joe Litchfield, City of Sheffield. You may well have heard of his brother Max. Joe Litchfield hasn't quite hit the heights of his brother, but do not rule it out. He's a fantastically talented medley swimmer. Really, really good indeed. And he'll be hoping to hit that Commonwealth standard time. It's pretty quick at 4:16:63. That's the time he's needing to hit if he wants to potentially join his brother on the flight over to Australia. Max Litchfield already qualified. He's already got his seat on the plane. He doesn't have to worry about this event. Joe Litchfield, though, does indeed. I'm sure Max will be watching at home, urging his brother on. Jacob Greenup will be stiff competition from Bath University. He was very quick this morning to come in lane 3. Brodie Williams, likewise, he went out very, very fast indeed, did Brodie Williams of Millfields. Be interesting to see if he approaches this race with a similar strategy. Difficult race to prep for, the 400 metres IM, especially when it's heats and finals in the same day. You have to leave something in the tank. It's such a grueling race. And here's the man, Joe Litchfield, City of Sheffield. He'll be getting a lot of support from his teammates, including who we spoke to earlier, Ellie Faulkner. She'll be back in the stands with her teammates cheering on Joe Litchfield. Jacob Greenup may provide his stiffest competition from Bath University. He looked really, really good this morning. Thomas Dean from Maidenhead was another who went out very, very quickly this morning. Faded a little bit towards the end, but that can happen in the heats especially. Fraser Minikin from Loughborough University is always there or thereabouts at this sort of level. Thomas Payne from City of Manchester Aquatics has been there and done it at Nationals. Nathan Hughes is no different in that respect, but he's a fair bit younger from Hatfield. Caleb Hughes from Loughborough Uni goes in the opposite lane in lane 8. John Britton from Ealing is in 0. And then we've got the youngster, William Bell, just 15 at the start of this year. And he ends it in an A final at the men's 400 metres individual medley, up against the likes of Joe Litchfield in lane 4. Mentioned at the top of the show, always good to see these guys pit themselves against the very best, and Joe Litchfield is among them, make no mistake. Can he secure the time he's looking for? 4:16.63. You can see his brother Max Litchfield holds the British record. He'll need to go a little bit close to it. It's the men's 400 IM A final.
And away we go. Starting off with the butterfly. They're going to make a daring early dart towards the front. They'll try them claw themselves in an early commanding position here. Anyone's going to do it. Looks as if Joe Litchfield of City of Sheffield is the man so far, and also in lane 7. A good job being done from Thomas Payne as well. City of Manchester aquatic swimmer, the oldest in the pool in this A final. It's been a decent start for him thus far. Trying to break away from that pack of 4 on the far side of the pool. The central lane's pretty much tied up close together. But certainly, Thomas Payne, with the start he would have wanted right now, coming towards the quarter stage of this final. He is the man in the lead. He is the man in control. Joe Litchfield currently in second position with a split time just over 59 seconds, 59.01. But the splits there really going to show just how Thomas Payne managed that first set of 100 metres. Interesting to see if he can do the exact same on the back now as well.
Yeah, a really good start this from Thomas Payne, looking very, very good. 57.33 is a very quick start to the 400 individual medley. Joe Litchfield will try and not let that affect him. He'll be showing his own race on his own time. And he remains near the top, but Brody Williams has now taken that mantle. So we're in lane 5 from Millfield. Don't rule him out. 1:31.91, his split, and 150 metres. And the green cap of Millfield there at the top of your picture, looking pretty good indeed. Tucked in behind him now is Joe Litchfield in lane 4. That's your 1-2. Just started to fade away is Thomas Payne in lane 7. He's still there or thereabouts. He might well have a bit of a kick on the breaststroke. We'll have to wait and see there. But Brody Williams tucks in at the halfway point in front, 2:03.41. Joe Litchfield has a good breaststroke. He's going to need to use it.
And those on the outer lane, their challenge very much eroding right now, and that is all down to the fantastic work being done down the central lanes. Steve mentioning there Brody Williams in lane 5. Well, you can throw Joe Litchfield's name into it now as well. He's beginning to purr on this breaststroke leg, just to his right as well, almost hugging the rope. Separating the two of them is Jacob Greenow of Bath University in lane 3. He put on some very impressive performances in the pool last night, and he certainly looks as if he's got enough in the tank as well to carry on just as strong on the back end of this 400 IM. The early pursuit that we have from Thomas Payne in lane 7, evaporating somewhat right now, just to his left-hand side in 6, Thomas Dean of Maidenhead, but they are still in pursuit of that trio down the centre.
This is turning into some race here as they come back towards the turn into the final leg of the IM, the freestyle. It's anybody's race. No great surprise to see Jacob Greenow excellent on the breaststroke turn that lead around. All of a sudden, he's banging contention, and this is how he does it on a medley. He's wonderful on the breaststroke, and he turns into the freestyle in front, but not by a lot. 3:19.07 for Greeno, 3:19.48 for Joe Litchfield, and they are neck and neck, stroke for stroke. You can see it there, pretty much like synchro swimmers as they head up towards the diving pool ends of Ponds Forge. They're going to turn for home, and they're looking to be pretty quick here. Remember that time for Commonwealth consideration, 4:16.63. It's a quick time. Can they get anywhere near it as they turn for home?
And you can hear the thunderous roar as well being emitted from the pool, and the splashes that are being created by the kicks are just as intense as well as the home straight being led by Joe Litchfield in lane 4 from City of Sheffield. Certainly turning this one on at the right time. He's got two either side of that golden lane in pursuit of him, but it doesn't look as if they're going to have enough left in the tank. Maybe a late burst from Thomas Dean in lane 6 of Maidenhead. He's looking quick. He's tight as well in lanes 2 and 3, but touching first is Joe Litchfield. 4:18.7 in his home pool. Really saving his best for the final 100 there, and breaking away in some style as well. Thomas Dean does indeed manage to get his way into second spot. A fantastic late charge on the back 50, and Fraser Milliken pipping Jacob Greenow to third spot there. Confirmation though of Joe Litchfield, the City of Sheffield, 4:18.7 sees him take the A final in the men's 400 IM.
Well, there we go, and you can see the desperation really at the end of that race for Joe Litchfield and Thomas Dean in particular. They put so much into that. 4:18.7 the winning time for Joe Litchfield. He wanted 4:16.63 to potentially get that Commonwealth Games qualification standard. A little bit short for Joe Litchfield. Despite that, very, very fine swim from Joe.
Those last few races on the mark, ladies and gentlemen, maybe
Thomas Dean in second. Fraser Milliken getting himself third. He had a fantastic final leg there. And there you go. There you go. That's the emotion. That is the exhaustion at the end of a 400 IM. One of the most exhausting races in the schedule. And that is Jacob Greenow, who gave everything into the breaststroke leg in particular.
The individual races for the night in the 800 freestyle. There's 4x100 free relay.
Oh, that just goes to show you, ladies and gents, doesn't it, just how tough these consideration standard times are. It was a very, very tough standard time. 4:16.63 is difficult to hit in the 400 IM. And as Ellie was alluding to earlier, there's reason behind that. Swim England are nominating their athletes for this journey over to the Commonwealth Games because they are all about the medals. They are not particularly interested in carrying any backpackers who are just there for a good time. Yes, as Ellie mentioned, they will have fun, they will enjoy swimming in Australia, outdoor pool, all the good times that come with that, but they are there for business and they are there for medals, and that's what these times actively encourage. And it does mean that some swimmers will suffer some disappointment at this event. We've already seen it yesterday with the likes of Jay Elliott and James Wilby. We've already seen it tonight as well with Jay Elliott and Nick Granger again, and that once more will be the feeling felt by Joe Litchfield, just outside 4:16.63. Unfortunate for him, we do have plenty more on the way. We've got the B final of the 400 IM coming up in just a moment. We've then got the women's 800 metre freestyle. Great chance there to see one of our top up-and-coming swimmers. Holly Hibbert is absolutely excellent, and we're looking forward to seeing her go in the 800 metre free. This is the start list then for the B final for the 400 metres individual medley. Just see our swimmers making their way onto the pool deck. Nathan Wells was quickest in qualification, 4:35.40. Alfie Kelly for Newcastle was not too far behind either in 4:35.67 this morning. His teammate Adam Wilson joins the party as well. He's from 4:36.28. And this is another young race, this one. No swimmers over the age of 20. It's a race full of teenagers, and this is what this event can be all about. We can have Olympians winning golds, but it is about the next generation as well here at Nationals. And this is a man who has very high expectations of himself, and why wouldn't you? He was 14 at the start of this year, Pierce Greening. didn't have to make anyone feel old. Swimming in the B final, the youngest by quite some distance. He swam 41.55 this morning in the heats. Lewis Gilchrist completes the field in lane number 9. This is our penultimate individual race, this one. It's the B final of the men's 400 IM. And it's over to Jonathan as soon as the swimmers enter the water.
Well, this event, oh so unpredictable, just shown in that A final that with Joe Litchfield taking it for City of Sheffield. Didn't really lead until the final 100, but that's what matters, being able to have enough left in store for that final go on the freestyle in order to put yourselves top of the pack by the end of the race. And it certainly was a theme early on in that last final as well, for those on the outside to dare to push towards the front, but at the moment it's going to form down the middle, and particularly in lane 5 with Alfie Kelly of Newcastle. He's part of a Newcastle duo consisting of himself and Adam Wilson as well in lane 3. Both of those either side of Nathan Wells in 4 of Loughborough University. He was the quickest entry time from the heats this morning, 4:35.4. Wasn't too far away from featuring in the A final. He may have a point to prove in this B final, and at the moment he's just slightly behind Alfie Kelly of Newcastle.
Yeah, really close start to this one, isn't it? Alfie Kelly, 60.13, not too far behind him is Zach Logue of the City of Sunderland. Bit of a northeast rivalry in the pool at the moment in those leading positions. Fairly even as we look across the pool, it must be said. Anyone from the 4 middle lanes looking pretty good as they come towards the turn on the backstroke ledge here. Backstroke leg, I should say. Adam Wilson in second place in lane 3. Nathan Wells in lane 4 in position number 4. Alfie Kelly leads the way at the 150. Zach Logue from the City of Sunderland not too far behind him, 1:35.08. Sat in third place at the 150. Nathan Wells just has to be a little bit careful here not to let these 3 get away. It's now a distinct front 3. Nathan Wells with a little bit of work to do. I almost feel him reaching for the wall here. He wants to be onto that breaststroke sooner rather than later. Give him a chance to shrink this field as they turn into the breaststroke. Leading the way at the halfway point, Alfie Kelly, 2:08.74. The man from Newcastle in command as they head into the breaststroke.
And those central 4 lanes in that first half of this final, wasting no time at all in trying to dissociate themselves from the outside lanes in this one, but just trying to cling on. Front of the peloton in lane 2 is Ben Harrison of Mount Kelly, just on the tail end of that front 4, down the heart of the field right now. In lane 6, Zach Logue of City of Sunderland going along at a very nice pace so far on this breaststroke. Still not too much of a gap between the front 4 to be able to boldly say that any one of them will miss out in the top 3 positions here. It's going to be finely poised going into the final 100 if that first 50 on the breaststroke is anything to go by. And also just on the periphery as well, in lane 7 is Yaron Gerber of Barnet Copthall. Is he too far out of touching distance to be able to stake a claim? Just on the other side, Ben Harrison in lane 2 certainly isn't right now, and beginning to drop off Alfie Kelly in lane 5 of Newcastle. It doesn't seem as if the breaststroke is his strength. Has he gone too early perhaps in the first half of this final? It's coming up to the nitty-gritty stages now though. We're into the final 100 metres when they turn, and Adam Wilson will be the one leading the way.
This really has been a really close race. Nathan Wells coming back into it on the breaststroke leg, but it's going to be close here as they turn into the freestyle, the final throws of this 400 metres individual medley. It's the man in lane 6, Zach Logue, City of Sunderland. He actually turned in second position behind Adam Wilson in lane 3, but he's turned that right around Alfie Kelly, who looks so good ahead of that breaststroke leg, has just been turned over, and as they come for home, it's between Logue and Wells here in lane 4, 6 versus 4. Not too much in them. Adam Wilson remains in contention as they come towards home.
And Nathan Wells with the last attempt to try and get out his rope and reel back in Zach Logue here, but that's going to be a very difficult task as they march into the final 20 metres now. A revival as well in lane 3 from Adam Wilson, who led going into the final 100. He may have to settle for third here. Nathan Wells is really beginning to squeeze that lead at the front, but it won't be enough to stop Zach Logue, who does very well indeed. Such a mature swim from him in that B final. 4:30.37 the resulting time, with Nathan Wells next in to touch home for second, and Adam Wilson is in third spot on 4:31.42.
Nice to see the little pat of congratulations for Zach Logue.
Confirmation
well
of those
earned.
results on the scoreboard. Just
grueling event, the 400 IM. 4:33.7 is a time he will be happy with, a long way inside the time he swam this morning. Nathan Wells nearly ran him down, very nearly in that final leg. On the freestyle, didn't quite have it in him to get the touch in first position. Adam Wilson wasn't too far behind. Alfie Kelly, in the end, ending up in 5th place there behind Ben Harrison, who finished strongly for Mount Kelly. As I mentioned at the top of that race, that is our penultimate individual race. We do have the longest women's race coming up, though, for you next. That's the women's 800 metres freestyle. And a chance to take a look at Holly Hibbert in particular. It was her 18th birthday yesterday. She was in sparkling form, it must be said. This is what's coming up tomorrow, day number 3 of these championships. Isn't it going by quickly? Men's 200 fly opens up the program, followed by the women's 200 metre breaststroke. We then have a bit of a splash and dash in the middle. Men's 50 back and women's 50 fly is followed by what should be a cracker, the men's 100 metre freestyle. We then have the women's 4x200 metre freestyle team event, and we end with the men's 1500. Last chance for Jay Lelliott to potentially get his Commonwealth Games qualifying time. He will always back himself in the 1500. Here he is, hopping onto the podium in the bronze medal position for the seniors. This is the medal ceremony for the 200 metre freestyle. Jay Lelliott and Nick Granger, who had aspirations of those Commonwealth qualification standards in this race.
the winners of
Not quite getting there.
in the
In the senior category, representing City of Sheffield, Jay Elliott.
So there is Jay Elliott picking up
in the
his medal.
Category, representing City of Peterborough.
Smile on the face of the man from the city of Sheffield. Chances starting to run out for him. We mentioned at the start of this meet, it is last chance saloon for these Commonwealth selections. Jay Elliott has one more chance in the 1500. It is an event he likes, the 1500. He got a medal in it at the World University Games in Taiwan just a couple of months ago. William Bell, the youngster who swam in the final, the A final, alongside Nick Granger, Jay Elliott, and the winner of our gold medal, which is Cameron Kurle. Terrific swim that was from the outside lane in that race from the youngster.
Representing the Potter Swimming Club Trophy, representing Royal Wolverhampton, Matthew Richards.
So Cameron Kurle picking up a gold medal and the trophy for his win in the 200 metre free. Swims at the National Centre in Bath. A smile on the face of Cameron Kurle. He'd also have had his eye on those Commonwealth Games times, not quite up to the qualification standard, but again, was not far away. That is the sort of standard that we are setting at this event. It's a very, very high standard indeed. So just one more event individually to come. We get a chance to take a look at Holly Hibbert. Was just alluding to earlier, a sparkling day yesterday for Holly Hibbert on her 18th birthday. Picked up the gold medal with Stockport Metro in the relay and was impressive in her individual events as well. She is supreme in the women's 800-metre freestyle, an event that's been on the British scene at least for so long, dominated by Jazz Carlin, of course, for the Commonwealth Series. She'll swim for Wales. But do keep an eye on Holly Hibbert, who is England's primary candidate. She's already got a seat on the plane for the Commonwealth Games. She swims in lane 4 of this one for Stockport Metro. She already knows she's going, so we might not see the quickest time from Holly Hibbert, or we might, depending on how she plans on planning her training. We mentioned to Ellie Faulkner yesterday, were you expecting that time, considering you're training hard for the Commonwealths and that you're already there? She said, absolutely not, it just happened. Who knows, Holly Hibbert might have a similar experience. Daniel Huskisson is worth keeping an eye on, so too Alice Deering, for so long a fixture in these meets. Loughborough University swimmer Hannah Miley goes in lane 7. Trying out some different events is Smiley Miley in lane 7. Obviously a Scottish swimmer. She'll be representing Scotland at the Commonwealth Games. The 800-metre freestyle is an event that she doesn't usually swim. She's usually cut down a little bit more in terms of medleys and 200s and 400s, but 800 metres is what she's swimming today, and she's such a versatile, quality swimmer that being in lane 7 in this final does not seem too foreign to her at all. Competed in her 3rd Olympics in Rio in 2016. Now swims at Aberdeen. They previously competed for many years at Geary. Looking forward to this one then, women's 800 metre freestyle, a much longer race, very tactical. Swimmers will have their own ideas of how they want to swim this race.
The women's 50-metre freestyle.
And that will be coming up after this medal ceremony in the women's 50-metre freestyle.
The winners of the bronze medals. In the senior category, representing City of Sunderland, Freya Rayner.
Freya Rayner swam an excellent race for the City of Sunderland.
And also in the senior category, representing Thanet Swim, Katie Latham.
And right alongside her, Katie Latham of Thanet Swim. Bit of a smile between those two girls, getting exactly the same time. It can quite often happen in a 50-metre race.
Rebecca Watt. The winners of the silver medals. In the senior category, representing Loughborough University, Emily Barclay.
Emily Barclay from Loughborough picks up the silver in the senior category.
In the junior category, representing Basildon and Phoenix, Macy Lawrence.
And Macy Lawrence from Basildon and Phoenix, always a riotous bunch. The Basildon and Phoenix lot, well known around the circuit, particularly in the East region. They love their swimming and they really get behind their swimmers, and that'd be no different for Macy Lawrence. Gold medals now being dished out. First for Anna Hopkin, who swam a fine race. A little way off that qualification standard for Anna, which I'm sure we met with a tinge of disappointment, but it was a very, very quick time set as a standard.
And the winner of the commemorative gold, representing HPC.
And Eleanor Dewhurst actually swam in a swim-off earlier on. Time she said gets her a junior gold medal. And a big congratulations as well to Kayla Sanchez from Ontario. Really nice swim to get the commemorative gold medal for Canada. She looked superb in the women's 53. It does take something to beat Anna Hopkin over 50 metres, and Kayla Sanchez certainly had that special something. Women's 800-metre freestyle then is what we can focus on now. We had 3 heats of this a little bit earlier on this morning. No final in this, as it's a very, very long race to swim twice in one day, let me tell you. So 3 heats. This is the fastest heat seeded as entry times coming into this event. So we might not necessarily see the gold, silver and bronze medals come from this event. It would be very, very unlikely, especially for the gold, to come from one of our earlier heats, especially with the likes of Holly Hibbett, Alice Deering, Daniel Huskisson in the race. Not unheard of, though, however. Holly Hibbett enters as the red-hot favourite. Swimmer from Stockport Metro, 18 and 1 day, heading into day number 2 of these championships. 2 medals to kick off day number 1 on her birthday yesterday, which she would have been delighted with.
So then, ladies and gentlemen, time to return.
The race is over. Women's 800 metre freestyle is upon us.
800 metre freestyle fastest heat.
As you'll be able to hear, introduces the fastest heat. This isn't technically a final, as I said. Medals can come from any of our heats, dependent on time. But here is the fastest entrant into this competition in this event, Holly Hibbett. Always manages to look pretty nervous before a race, Holly Hibbett, but she's a supremely confident swimmer as soon as she hits the water. And always well backed by her teammates at Stockport Metro. Alice Deering, who's at Loughborough University. We're expecting to be there or thereabouts in this one. Hannah Miley has been there and done it at just about every single possible level. We mentioned in the heat a little bit earlier on in the broadcast this morning, just the discrepancy in experience really in this race. Phoebe Griffiths, for example, in lane number 1, swimming out of Ellesmere College Titans. 17 at the start of this year. So young in comparison to the experience of someone like Hannah Miley. Should be an interesting race, this one. Really looking forward to it. It's the women's 800 metre freestyle. It's the fastest heat.
In lane 4 from Stockport Metro. As we mentioned, she turned a big 1-8 yesterday here at Ponds Forge, and she managed to come away with a couple of podium positions as well. But going into this one, as the favourite, you suspect, in lane 4, she'll be hoping for much more of the same. But of course, with the 800 metre freestyle, it is such an open pool.
Yeah, it really is, and it's always difficult to really qualify where our swimmers stand in these early stages. Each swimmer will swim a very different race. You see there the British record still held by Becky Adlington, set that in Beijing, 8:14.10. She was the queen of the 800 metres. Really was the golden girl for such a long time in this event. Jazz Carlin in recent years has been the one to watch at a national level. In terms of the Commonwealth, though, she of course is Welsh, so we're looking at the English interest, and that very much remains at the minute on the shoulders of Holly Hibbett in lane number 4. Been watching her for so many years now, it feels like, at national level. Still so young, only 18 yesterday, and she'll be right up there with the leaders in this one, you'd expect. Taking it out fairly quickly though is Alice Deering in lane number 3. I mentioned every swimmer will have a slightly different approach to this one, different stages of training. Holly Hibbett, for example, already guaranteed her place on the team for those Commonwealth Games in Australia next year, so she doesn't necessarily have to worry about this event too much. It's a little bit of a weight off the shoulders. She'll be in a different stage of training to some of these other girls in this race. So maybe not the quickest time we will see in the pool tonight from Holly Hibbett, but as we spoke to Ellie Faulkner earlier on, sometimes swimmers can surprise even themselves with what they've got in reserve. It's Holly Hibbert currently in second place. Behind Alice Deering from Loughborough University, who's gone out very nicely indeed, very relaxed in her stroke and very in control.
You can see with Holly Hibbert as well in lane 4, the length of her stroke there, and that could either be because, of course, she may prefer that sort of longer stroke and that's more comfortable for her, or it's the case of her preserving her energy for the quicker strokes when it comes to the back of this race. And we had 3 heats in this event earlier on today here in Ponds Forge. This is the 4th of them. The fastest heat, the heat declared winner. So everything very much up for grabs. You can just see the contrast between the front 2 right now in 3 and 4, Alice Deering and Holly Hibbert, with Alice Deering more regularly putting her arms into the water. Holly Hibbert looking very cool and relaxed right now. And of course, anyone's guess as to who's going to take it. It won't necessarily be either of those 2.
Yeah, turning into the next stage of the race, 300 metres gone. Approaching the halfway stage now is Holly Hibbert, who now hits the front. Alice Deering 3:13.83 at the 300 mark. And up there with the front 2, Hannah Miley in lane 7. Hugely experienced swimmer and hugely talented as well. This is not by any stretch her speciality event. She's very, very good over a 400-metre distance, which we're still inside now. How does she fancy swimming the 800 against the likes of Hibbert and Deering? Going to be an interesting clash if Miley can stick with them as she has done so far. Holly Hibbert, though, is just starting to stretch away. This is where her quality will become known. For 3:44.48, the split at 3:50, just edging ahead of Alice Deering and Hannah Miley towards the halfway point here of the race. As she comes towards the wall and somersaults into the second half of this 800-metre freestyle at the halfway point. It's Holly Hibbert who leads, 4:16.01. Alice Deering 4:19.60. Around about 3.5 seconds behind her now. Hannah Miley even further back. Holly Hibbert is once again making this race her own.
And you mentioned the experience of Hannah Miley in lane 7. She really doesn't seem to be exerting too much energy right now. Not much splash coming out of the water from her feet in particular. But it's quite interesting that even at the halfway point, the pool already is so dispersed and scattered. The only real bunch 3 you have are in lane 6, 7 and 8. Hannah Miley in the centre of them in 7, with either side of her Leah Crisp and Emily Clark. Crisp in 6 and Emily Clark in lane 8. At the moment, you do have Leah Crisp just on the tail of Hannah Miley, and it must be fantastic for someone like Leah Crisp, who is so significantly younger than that of Hannah Miley, to be next to an experienced swimmer and be able to use her as a bit of a pace setter as well and follow her lead and push her on for what could be her personal best in this race.
Yeah, Holly Hibbert looking pretty good. She was actually very, very close to the lane right there. I was swimming on top of it as she came towards the turn. There we see very, very relaxed stroke. Very consistent, very steady, no energy wasted whatsoever from Holly Hibbert. Very good 800-metre freestyle swimmer. Very versatile swimmer as well. Swam in the 100-metre freestyle relay yesterday, part of the successful Stockport Metro team who picked up a gold. And we do have the men's version coming up for you after this race. Men's 4x100-metre action in the freestyle relay. After this 800-metre freestyle fastest heat, can they follow in the footsteps of Holly Hibbert and the Stockport Metro girls in supplying us with a really entertaining race? We'll have to wait and see. Holly Hibbert, though, away in front. You can see there the distance that she's built up between these other swimmers. 600 metres, it's Holly Hibbert. 6:27.38, the split at the 6. Turning in second place is Alice Deering. There's now over 5 seconds between these two. Hannah Miley still sticking it out in third place, but an impressive swim for Hannah Miley. Out in lane 7, came into this event with a slower entry time than every other swimmer inside of her. And she is still hanging on in third position as it stands, but it looks like even with just over 150 metres to go, Alice Deering there in second place, still a long, long way back to getting Holly Hibbett. Good 5.5 seconds for Alice Deering to make up. Not easy, and she's almost caught in a little bit of no man's land here. She's ahead of the rest, but way behind the front. She does have to be careful though. Rest of the field aren't too far behind. Making a push now in lane 6 is Leah Crisp of the City of Leeds. Barely said her name so far during this race, but as they take the bell, she's starting to come to the fore. Holly Hibbett then, 800 metre freestyle. This is the event she loves to swim and is very successful at it. She takes the bell, miles in front of anyone else, 7:34.14 with 100 to go.
It's always brave when a swimmer in the 800 free takes it by the horns and around the halfway point, but Holly Hibbett has done just that, and she hasn't looked back at all, and you have to say, just watching her, you never really doubted the fact that she'll be able to stick this far in front and have enough left in the tank to maintain that lead as well. As hard as Alice Deering may try in lane 3, she can't really close that gap right now. And psychologically, it's very damning indeed for those that are having to wave goodbye to Holly Hibbett. She makes the turn way before everybody else. Special mention as well for Leah Crisp, who has managed to just overturn the lead that Hannah Miley had on that far side between the trio in 6, 7 and 8. But as we focus down the centre and we focus at the front, it's all Holly Hibbett's list for Stockport Metro. She has swam this one with ease and with fantastic consistency as well, and it's a really good time of 8:38.54, which is inside the time as well of 8:38.65 that you'd need for a place in the England team at the Commonwealth Games. Superb stuff from Holly Hibbett, and you have to say she didn't really have anyone with her at all to push her on. That was all Holly Hibbett's work. Alice Deering in next on 8:43.73, and Leah Crisp, commendable time for her too, 8:47.9. Very close indeed to that of Hannah Miley in the end, who just couldn't quite catch the lead swimmer. But how about that from Holly Hibbett? A massive congratulations to her. Decent couple of first 2 days, being 18.
Well, what a fine swim from Holly Hibbett. Inside that qualification standard. Not that she needed it, but it just shows the sort of form that she is in. Absolutely brilliant from Holly Hibbett of Stockport Metro. As I mentioned, doesn't need that time. She's already got her ticket, but that would have been a phenomenal swim if she didn't. 8:38.54, just about a tenth of a second inside the standard time. Wonderfully done from Holly Hibbett. Alice Deering with a fine swim in second place. Leah Crisp eventually creeping over Hannah Miley to take third, who's having a really good race. 8:49.36, that's a long way for Hannah Miley, further than she usually goes. And a super performance from Hannah Miley. We end with a little bit of, well, it's maybe a disservice to call it a little bit of fun. These swimmers take it very, very seriously, but it's fun to watch. That is for absolutely certain. Should be a cracker. Men's 400 metres freestyle team event. The 4x1. City of Peterborough in the blue and yellow in lane 3. City of Oxford swam nicely in the heats this morning. Hatfield have historically had a very, very good young team, and we'll be hoping to make the step up today. Plymouth Leander getting a big reception from around us here in the stands at Ponds Forge, and Bolton Metro complete the lineup in lane number 8. They swam it out pretty slowly this morning. We'll keep an eye on if they can improve their time potentially. It's the men's 400 metres freestyle team event, the 4x1 final.
compact as ever on the far side for that contingent from the southwest. And Rhys Dunn is the one carrying the baton on this first stretch. And not holding back at all, is he? On that first 50, he makes the turn first. Mount Kelly next up. Sam Daly swimming for them in lane 4. The fastest seeds in this final, 3:39.27 was the time coming into this. It was ever so tight between them and Pioneer 79, who were the second quickest. We're just under 0.2 seconds behind. Those two not far away from each other, but at the moment, boasting first at the quarter stage is Rhys Dunn and Plymouth Leander. And the Plymouth flag has been exchanged hands from Dunn to James Watson now, who goes splashing away in the pool to try and make sure that that early lead doesn't go to waste. Meanwhile, down the middle in the golden lanes, it's Harry Noble of Mount Kelly now on the pursuit for them. Just on his tail, trying to claw them back, is Thomas Gilroy of Pioneer 79. They're in third position, and also in lane 7, you can see Toby Laguda just making the turn off the wall in the pink cap, also more or less symmetrically with that of Hales Owen and Josh Bradley, who is in the pool for them, coming into this with their time at 3:49.49. Such an evenly packed field this, and there's so many individual battles going off all across the pool right now. No one really being left behind, coming in predominantly in 2s, but out as a sole 1 and still leading are Plymouth Leander and James Watson now exchanging for Freddie Clambert, who goes into the pool. Of course, we had the girls in this event last night. Stockport Metro were on the outside leg. They'd already swam earlier on to determine the lane positions, but they did themselves a massive amount of justice in the outside lane and certainly deceived us here trying to predict what the final outcome would be in that race. And always seeing something very, very similar from Plymouth Leander now. Almost a carbon copy so far, but you don't want to speak too early, particularly when you have Mount Kelly in the pool, hot on the heels of them. Currently in there for them is the first of the Badisso boys. It's Alessandro Badisso, who will soon pass over to Federico on their anchor leg. The lead is still more or less as you were, but they'll want it to squeeze very soon, Mount Kelly, because Plymouth on their anchor have Thomas Fannin diving into the mix and trying to take it home for them. Remember, they came into this with the second slowest time, Plymouth Leander, at 3:45.71, but they've certainly sharpened their tools and have come out fighting in this final now, and they have not looked back ever since that fantastic start made from Rhys Dunn. The rest of the pool, the peloton trying to chase down the front 2, are beginning to squeeze somewhat, but will the buffer evaporate between the front 2 of Plymouth Leander in lane 1 and Mount Kelly in 4 and the rest of the pool? I suspect not, particularly at this stage now, because they're on the final kick and rush home, and still Thomas Fannin has enough left to kick. And look at the white coming from his feet as he tries to claw his way from the pursuit of Federico Badisso of Mount Kelly. I think he's going to do enough as he comes into the wall. It's Plymouth Leander who made the long trip to Sheffield worthwhile. 3:25.58. Thomas Fannin taking it home for them. But a wonderful team performance from Dunn, Watson, Clambert and Fannin combined. Mount Kelly next in on 3:27.34, and Hatfield winning the battle of the peloton. And they touch home with their time of 3:33.9. Breathless stuff to conclude the night's action in Ponsford. And the final.
Well, great race there for Plymouth Leander. Terrific performance from them, from the outside to claim the gold. And I'm delighted to say, joined in the studio at the minute by one James Wilby. James, talk to me a little bit about tonight. That smile is certainly a lot bigger tonight than it was last night. Talk to me about your race, 100 breaststroke, dipping under that consideration time. What was your feelings as soon as you hit the wall and saw that scoreboard?
Yeah, definitely very happy. It's been a while since not been a while. I've never been under the minute before, and yeah, I've been sort of trying to hit that, break that barrier for a little while. So yeah, very happy to finally do it, and obviously be under the qualification time. So looking good for Gold Coast.
Absolutely, and talk to me, you did it twice in a day. Obviously did it in the heats. That must have given you a pretty good indication, particularly regarding disappointment last night. You just missed out on the 200. Everyone here absolutely rooting for you, including a lot of your Loughborough teammates I know as well. How important was it to come back this morning, in the heats admittedly, but come back this morning and really set a standard for yourself by dipping sub 60 in the heats?
Well, the sub 60 in the heats was a little bit of a surprise. I was going for a good strong swim, setting me up well for the final, but with the whole 200, slight disappointment, and then going forward into this race today, it's something actually practice almost to the the line, to the letter, and worked with that with Dave, my coach. So as soon as I missed the time yesterday, I pretty much was over it by the time I was at the pool, and I was just like, okay, 100 it is, can't change what's happening in the 200, I know what I need to do to hit the time in the 100, sorry. So yeah.
And obviously 200 and 100, very, very different races for not particularly for a freestyle, but definitely for a breaststroker. 100 is far more of a sprint, 200 becomes a very much an endurance race. Do you like swimming both? Is what's it like trying to train for both?
It's certainly a challenge. Each one has its little specifics, but yeah, no, I definitely enjoy training for both. I want to be good at both. So the 100's obviously done slightly better at this competition, but it's always hard getting going in December, particularly for things like the 200. But yeah, it's looking good going forward, hopefully for both events. Hopefully into Commonwealths, and then obviously there's the Europeans, and then long-term Tokyo. So
absolutely, and we're just taking a look at some of the medals being handed out. How much do you enjoy this winter event? It seems to be, usually it's an event, it's a splash and dash, it's a blowout before Christmas, little bit more pressure this time around with the Commonwealths around the corner. How much have you enjoyed this event?
Yeah, pressure's always a good thing. I think it was always a challenge in September, knowing that I've got a couple of months to get up, get going, and hit out a competition like this for to get the qualifying time. It's always fun, racing long course, particularly in Ponds Forge. Everyone always has a little thing. Ponds Forge is a great pool. So yeah, I've definitely enjoyed this, and got one more race on Saturday, and then get to relax for a little bit, and then full speed ahead for Commonwealths.
And talk to me a little bit about the Commonwealths. You must be now allowing yourself to dream a little bit. Obviously, nothing set in stone, but hopes are high. It would be your second Commonwealth Games. What would it mean to you to swim in that event?
Yeah, I love it. Love the Commonwealth Games, kind of known as the friendly games. It's a great chance, and it's always competitive for the breaststroke because Britain as a whole is stacked.
It's difficult, isn't it?
And it's great having all that competition. We're all really good friends, and it's fun to compete against each other. And yeah, Commonwealths will be an exciting one. Definitely looking forward to it.
Well, we can't wait to watch you swim there. And just one final word from yourself. This event has been ultimately a successful one for you. What are you hoping to achieve should you get to the Commonwealths? Are you targeting medals? The standards are very high for these qualification standards.
Yeah, well, qualification standards are high. Swimming in Britain on breaststroke is very fast, so naturally that kind of leads on to sort of medal aims as such. So yeah, definitely looking forward to trying to go for a medal. But there's lots of things to work on between now and then. But yeah, medals are obviously in sight as such.
And the hard work only starts here. Obviously, it's difficult to try and peak twice over a very short period of time. Sets its own challenges, not just for you, but for your coach as well, setting the training scheme. Different year this year. What's that been like training-wise, trying to peak twice in a very short period of time?
It's got its challenges. Normally, obviously, like you said earlier, we don't have to go so fast in December.
Very rare for a swimmer, that.
Yeah, so it's had its challenges, but it's not something we're shying away from, and just see it as more opportunity to race fast at certain meets and hit certain standards. It's something I need to get better experience at doing, because I'm kind of a bit of a late developer in sort of the international scene. So it's a fun challenge. Looking forward to the next couple of meets, which obviously being the Commonwealth and then Europeans. So yeah.
You mentioned there you're a late developer on the international scene. First World Championships this year in Budapest. I know that must have been a pretty crazy experience for you. Talk us a little bit through that. What was that like being out at Worlds?
Well, it was an amazing experience. The whole venue, the whole setup is just absolutely incredible. It is truly world class, world level sort of competition, obviously. But yeah, I had a slightly disappointing competition there. But I've learned a lot from it, and learned from those mistakes and sort of things that went wrong, and planned going forward this cycle and then onwards. And one of those happened to play out perfectly, which was missing the 200 qualification and having to turn it around for the 100 in 24 hours. So I've learned, and I've been able to implement what I've learned, and fortunately managed to get the qualifying time and hopefully continue learning going forward.
And next year, not just a big year in terms of the Commonwealth as well. Europeans,
Yeah.
it's a non-stop year this for swimming. Considering the Olympics was only in 2016, it really is non-stop. I know you'll be targeting those European Championships in Glasgow as well. What can you really expect out of a year with 2 major international competitions? Can you allow yourself to think beyond the first one?
Well, I think Europeans is probably the primary focus for most. I mean, Commonwealths is always a great competition, don't get me wrong, but Europeans is kind of where it gets really into it, like particularly summer meets. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Europeans in Glasgow, and Glasgow's always a great city to race in. That's where I had, you know, Commonwealth Games in 2014. So yeah, I really enjoy it there. So should be an interesting experience, like you said, with so many hits each year, like in one year.
And 2019, we take a little bit of a breather compared to 2018, and then you're obviously targeting Tokyo in 2020. It's obviously a long way away, but I know swimmers' period cycles are usually 4 years for that very reason.
Always looking for that.
Always looking for that Tokyo 2020 Games. What would it mean to you swimming at your first Olympics?
It would be an amazing experience, like no doubt about it. It's very competitive in Britain with the breaststroke, as we've mentioned many times, and it's always tough come Olympic year to get a spot on that team. Everyone's always, you know, full steam ahead when it comes to Olympic year. So it'll be a challenge, but like I'm pretty much building each little competition, going forward towards Tokyo to hopefully have the best possible chance come, you know, with trials for Tokyo.
Well, we wish you obviously all the very best. Congratulations on a brilliant meet so far. Best of luck for Saturday, and we'll rejoin the medal ceremonies right now on the programme. What a wonderful moment for James Wilby there, and we take a look at some more wonderful moments for some more of our athletes picking up medals in the 800 metres freestyle. Gold medal obviously going to a brilliant swim from Holly Hibbett. Under the qualification time, when she'd already got it, she is in very, very fine fettle. Alice Deering picking up the silver. She was in super form as well. And the golden moment now for Holly Hibbett. And James will be hoping to join on the Commonwealth plane over to the Gold Coast in 2018. Phenomenal swim from Holly Hibbett, who just seems to go from strength to strength. It's safe to say it's been a pretty impressive 18th birthday for the youngster from Stockport Metro. And a nice little moment for the youngster there as well, alongside Holly Hibbett, hoping to be the next Holly Hibbett. That will feel like a very strange thing, the Stockport Metro swimmer to process, to be the inspiration for the younger swimmers. She's now left that mantle of being a young swimmer. That's the sort of pressure that the young swimmers have to live up to. They swim at these events, they can see Holly Hibbett. She was in their shoes just a few years ago, and here she is, national champion, smashing out Commonwealth standard times when she's already got them. Incredible stuff from Holly Hibbett there. This is what we've got to look forward to tomorrow. Men's 200 metre butterfly opens the programme, followed by the women's 200 metre breaststroke. Men's 50 backstroke is followed by the women's 50 fly, and a bit of a splash and dash interval in the middle of that session. Men's 100 freestyle should be very, very fun. Usually an event favoured by one Duncan Scott in this pool. The Scot has picked up a bronze medal in Denmark tonight at the short course European Championships. We then have the women's 4x2 freestyle team event, followed by the men's 1500 metre freestyle fastest heat to round us out for tomorrow evening. And these are the swimmers that have already made it through, guaranteed ticket on the plane to the Commonwealth Games. One Adam Peaty tops the list. No great surprise there. The man who has redefined the breaststroke, nominated for the BBC Sports Personality of the Year award for the second year running. He has been phenomenal this year. World records, world championships, once again for the man from the Loughborough National Centre. James Guy has made it as well. Ben Proud is a phenomenal sprinter and will look to swim well once again in the Commonwealth Games. Siobhan Marie O'Connor is here this week. She's looking to add events to her programme in the Gold Coast. Molly Renshaw has been phenomenal this year, breaststroker, and very, very talented one at that. Ellie Faulkner, we saw her earlier on the programme. She'd already done her job in the 200 metre freestyle She went and did it again, by the way, yesterday, just for good measure in 1:56. She admitted that's not what she was expecting, but she was very, very pleased with that. Andrew Willis was seen race here this week. It's part of his progression as opposed to his last chance saloon. He swam in the 200 and the 100 breaststroke we've seen so far. Max Litchfield, City of Sheffield swimmer, watched his brother Joe go today. Didn't quite get the time needed in the 400 IM, which Max will favour at those Commonwealth Games. Lizzie Simmons, a phenomenal backstroker. Freya Anderson, along with Holly Hibbert, one of the next big things to come out of young swimming. Sarah Vasey, Luke Greenbank, who we've seen race this week. Jocelyn Ullier, currently over in Denmark at the Short Course Championships, a brand new breakthrough swimmer this year. Holly Hibbert, who we've just seen collect her gold medal, and Emily Large, who's out there swimming in Denmark at the moment, complete the team confirmed. We've already added a few more, potentially, we have to say that, a few more swimmers have hit those standard times. They will be hoping to join those guys on the plane over to Australia. Medal ceremony now for the 400 metres freestyle team event. It was Hatfield who claimed the bronze medal. Good swim as well from James Woodward, Toby Laguda, Nathan Hughes and Harry Constantine. Mount Kelly, silver medalist in both the women and the men's event. Sam Daly is a very, very talented young swimmer. He's used to picking up golds in this pool. He'll have to settle for silver in the relay in this one. His teammates, Harry Noble, Alessandro Badiso and Federico Badiso, pick up silver medals for Mount Kelly as well. The winners of the gold, Plymouth Leander, and weren't they superb in that relay? Brilliant to watch, well supported as always. You can hear the cheers from the sidelines here at Ponds Forge as well for the swimmers. From the outside lane as well, Rhys Dunn, James Watson, Freddie Clampett and Tom Fannin. Not a bad bloke to have on your anchor leg. He is deadly over the freestyle. Look forward to seeing him tomorrow in the 100 free. See what he can produce in that one.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one last time tonight for your medal winners.
So there you have it. Those are our final medalists of day number 2 at these National Winter Championships. And it is time to say goodbye. What a wonderful night swimming it has been. I am sure, like me, you want to do it all over again tomorrow. We will be back the same time tomorrow. Make sure you do join us on the BBC Sport app, on selected TVs as well as the website BBC Sport. We will be back with you 4:50 tomorrow in the PM. We can't wait to join you. We'll see you then. Good night.